Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Lorraine saying hello from Columbia, South Carolina. I am here in Lorraine's barn, and it is just such a joy for me to be with you all. And I'm just so thrilled to see such wonderful faces, all the participants that are currently on here. And welcome to you. And Mother's Day is around the corner. And so I am just thrilled to be able to share with you and want to commend you for taking just an hour, just to invest in yourselves, to just give yourselves a little bit of a gap and, hopefully share, at the end of the session, share a little bit about what you have on your heart, or if you want to contribute. I also have a very special guest here with me today. You will be hearing from her a little bit later on, because today, I don't just want to give you head knowledge. As women, we fulfill so many diverse roles. We mothers, we wives, we taxi drivers, we home executives, we business women, we chefs, we chief cooks and bottle washers. There are so many things that we have to do as women, and so many demands placed on us. And as I have been journeying, and I know I still have a long way to go, but as I have been journeying through life, I see that there are so many things that we have to cope with. And the world tells us to suck it up and be strong and cope and carry on. And I also think there are some cultures where we are taught that you always must just smile. Everything is good. And how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. Everything's good. But you never ever really get the opportunity to be real. So I want to be real with you this afternoon. I'm going to share a part of my life and probably make myself vulnerable. But I want you to know that so many times us as women, we walk through life, we carry these things, the realities of womanhood, and we think sometimes we are the only ones that are suffering. We are the only ones that are going through a hard time, when in fact, all we need to do is maybe share it with one or two friends. And there are many of us that can actually come out and say, wow, you're also going through this. I thought I was just going crazy. So I want to share a little bit about hormones, because we are just a hormonal machine, us women. And obviously men also have endocrine systems, but I wanted to give you a little bit about just a glimpse into the endocrine system and how it controls everything in your body. And then I wanted to jump over and pull in a special guest. And I want you to hear from someone who's a real person, someone who is really, like all of you, walked a road and, is now at a place where, looking back, thinking, wow, how could I have done things differently? But also that the God we serve wastes nothing. And then I'm going to share with you just a little bit about whole food concentrates that I have been using for 23 years, that I love, that I feel are just so special for women in every season. I always can equate a woman's life to the 4 seasons. In spring, we have the teenagers, and the teenagers are in the spring season of their lives, and the young girls, and their bodies are developing and they're blooming and they're blossoming, and then they get married, and then they start having children, and they go into the summer phase of their lives. And then those children grow up, right? And those children go to college. And, they start leaving home, and it's just you and your husband. And suddenly you find yourself in the fall or autumn phase in your life. And then before you know it, you are sitting on the porch with all your friends, sipping tea or playing bingo, and you are in the winter season of your life. And every one of those seasons is so beautiful and so unique. And so I know everyone listening here, we are all in different seasons. So take the information that is presented, test it, and I hope it'll be a blessing for you. Just a little bit about what I do. For those of you who don't know me, I've been teaching health and wellness for 23 years. It is my passion, my gifting, my expertise to walk a road with people very practically. There is so much information out there, and I believe in a common sense approach, also scientific approach. If it doesn't make sense, and 1 and 1 should equals 2, then discount it. But I think especially the supplemental industry is a $40 billion industry, and they're wonderful supplements. But so what I do is I do cooking demonstrations, I do wellness talks in my barn, I do group wellness talks at corporates and churches and in homes, but then I also endorse whole food supplements, and they fit my whole food philosophy, and we're just going to touch a little bit on them today. So first of all, I want to ask you the question: what comes to mind when you hear the word endocrine? What comes to mind when you hear the word hormones? Okay. I have heard many responses. I've heard menopause. I've heard a sassy wife from some men. I have heard period pains. I've heard anxiety, irritability, but hormones are so much more than that. And so if you look at your endocrine system is every organ in your body that secretes a hormone. And I want to quickly look at just some of those that I feel are so important, that if we have a basic understanding, it can make a huge impact in our lives. And remember, knowledge is power. When we become knowledgeable about our bodies, when we become knowledgeable about foods that negatively and positively affect those endocrine organs, we can make informed decisions. And I believe we can be healthier and be in a better place. So your brain is, did you know that up to 60% of your brain is made out of fat? Isn't that crazy? So my question to you is, what fat have you fed your brain today? And I'm not speaking about the bacon that you had with your eggs, but that's not you, right? That's your husband's. But so fat is so critical for the brain, and you have your pineal gland and you have your pituitary gland, and your pituitary gland is your master control gland. It controls, it's a conductor of this whole orchestra. And if you drill a hole through the eye, you get the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is a small gland that is responsible for making melatonin and serotonin. So what comes to mind when you hear serotonin? It's your happy hormone, right? Melatonin helps you sleep well at night. And so that's why it's important for us to go outside and get natural sunlight every day. And I'm not saying go into the noonday sun. I do want to encourage you to get outside, even if you pull your chair and you sit under your tree and take off your reading glasses, take off your dark glasses, your contact lenses, and just let the natural sun rays come through your eyes for 20 minutes a day. And you'll feel so much better. You'll feel so much happier and more encouraged. And then, of course, your brain also, needs glucose. So glucose, up to 40 to 60% of your brain needs glucose to function properly. So I'm not saying go and eat refined sugars, but I'm saying, what form of natural carbohydrates, unadulterated, whole grain, ancient grains are we eating? Then I want to have a look at the thyroid. The thyroid is just a buzzword here in America because so many people today, so many women today are on thyroid medication. And I believe it's because of many factors, but one of the huge factors we see today is that when women are younger and things are changing now. There's been a health revolution. We immigrated 13 years ago. I couldn't even find quinoa at a grocery shop. Now you go to Walmart, you go to just the average Joe grocery store and you find all these wonderful, wonderful things that we never had access to. So one of the reasons why we don't have healthy thyroids is we don't eat enough iodine, or if you're in South Africa, you'd say iodine. And especially here in the South. Here in the South, we eat, what fish do we eat here today? We eat, what? I wish I could hear you all speak. But we eat tilapia, we eat flounder, we eat catfish, right? And we don't eat those fish that are really high in iodine. and really high in your essential fatty acids. And it's very important. Did you know that green vegetables are also very good? And besides being critical for the thyroid, your breasts, iodine is very, very protective for your breasts. So that's just a good thing to know. And then the next one I want to look at is your pancreas. Your pancreas is a little storehouse that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it doesn't stop because of the demands that we place on it. And so you all that were born here in America and raised here in America would know that probably around about 1978, 1980, the scientists concluded that all fat caused heart disease. So what did they do? They took fat out of everything. And so whenever you take fat out of everything, or let me rephrase that, whenever you demonize one nutrient, you invariably give free pass to the other. And so they gave free pass to sugar. They took fat out of everything, and when you take something out, you got to put it in. That's why if a doctor says to someone that's A1C levels are climbing, or their blood sugars are climbing, the doctor would say, you may want to replace the sugar in your coffee or tea or your iced tea. You may want to replace it with an artificial sweetener. And so then that person's going to take artificial sweetener. So it's just human nature. You can't tell someone, take something out. You need to put something back. And so they started putting in sugar. So an interesting thing happened during the no-fat, low-fat craze. The average man and female got heavier. Something else happened. When they took fat out of everything, people thought it was great. There's no fat in here, it's fat-free. So if a muffin is fat-free, I can have 20 muffins. And so what happened was that when they took fat out of everything, what does fat do digestively? It satiates, it fills you up. So now they remove the fat, and now people are getting hungrier a lot quicker. And ta-da, the whole snacking industry is born. You were here. You were raised here. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not of this culture. I'm from another culture. I'm from South Africa originally. And man, I mean, I'm just going to say it. I may get into trouble, but I have never seen a nation snack like the American nation. Our kids are snacking all the time. We snackers. We just want to chomp all the time. And that's not a healthy thing. Because most times we don't snack on healthy foods, okay? So when you are snacking like the majority of people, I believe the greater population, because the statistics show that, on refined carbohydrates, junk food, processed food, what happens is your pancreas secretes insulin a lot more than what it should. And if your blood sugar goes up and down, the first thing that is affected is your brain and central nervous system. And so for me, that is a huge challenge, because I know that in my own life, I have sensitive blood sugar. So I know that I can never, ever allow my blood sugar to become compromised, which means if I let my blood sugar drop, I can get downright sassy. I can get moody. I can get really cheeky, for those of you who are South African, really cheeky. And I've had to repent many times to my children because I become ugly. So it's important for us to eat to make sure our blood sugar levels are stable. How do you do that? Well, good fats, fiber, and your vegetables. Protein, those are all things that help regulate blood sugar. So look at your plate. What are you eating in the morning? The reason you want to snack at 11 o'clock is because maybe the food you had at breakfast wasn't substantial and didn't contain enough of all those things so that you can be carried through until lunchtime. So there's just something you can maybe take note of. When you eat, look at your plate. Load it with vegetables. Load it with those vegetables that are high in water, high in fiber. And have you got a good fat on there? Have you got a good protein on there? You know, what fat? Essential fatty acids, avocados, nuts and seeds, olives, chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, raw pumpkin seeds. Those are all essential fatty acids that our bodies cannot make, specifically the omega-3. So you have to put it in. And so sprinkle them over your salads, throw them in your smoothies, put them in your granola bars, your power bites. Those are all practical ways that we can get these things into our diets. And then, of course, your adrenals. Your adrenals are little almond-shaped glands that sit up here, and they are there specifically to give you the tools to cope if you're in an emergency. And that's what they are there for. So what we see today, because we run from pillar to post, running like wild things, because that's the reality. We've got kids doing sports. We've got, I mean, you all know, you've been there. You all have your own challenges, and you just go, 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 go. And what happens is you're secreting adrenaline all the time. And so it's interesting, you know, some of us can secrete that adrenaline and we can go for a run and we can burn it off, and others it manifests differently. It's you know, the extra cortisol that is pumped goes and sits around the belly, and you sit here with like a tube around your middle that you can't get rid of. And remember, this whole endocrine system works synergistically together. If the blood sugar, if the pancreas is strained, it's going to put strain on the adrenal glands. It works together. And then, of course, your sex hormones, which are your estrogen, your ovaries, which secrete estrogen and progesterone. And you all know that life is a cycle. And I see many of us on different seasons right now. And some of you are going through the menopause, have gone through the menopause, so you don't have a cycle anymore. I'm 46, and my hormones are starting to change gears big time. I can feel it mentally more than anything, and I'll share a little bit about that in a bit. I can see it in my cycle. So these things are very real, and that's why I want to encourage you today to be aware of your endocrine system. You know, if you've come through stress, if you are exhausted, well, then it's not a good idea to join several of your friends to go and do CrossFit or you know, a high intensity training for a marathon. You've got to be kind to yourself. So you've got to look at you. You've got to look where you at. You know, where have you come from? What place of stress and trauma have you come from? And then you have to do what's right for you. Maybe gentle walks, 30 to 45 minutes are better for you. So I want to encourage you. All of us are unique. Coffee, stimulants, ramp up the adrenal glands. Caffeine causes anxiety. So if you're feeling anxious, you may want to back off on caffeine. We've had some people have 1 cup of coffee and it can trigger an anxiety attack. So I think you get what I'm saying. Just be kind to you. Look at where you at and stop looking at the rest of the world and focus on you. It's so important. And yeah, I just see so many women put pressure on themselves to do stuff, and I just look at a distance and say, man, I know where you've been at. I know where you've come from, and that's not right for you. But you can't always say something because you don't have the relationship. Because we know as we walk a road with someone, we earn the right to speak into their lives. And so we also know that with our ovaries secreting estrogen and progesterone, we go through life, and as we go through perimenopause and menopause, our estrogen levels start tapering off. And I'm not going to go into detail about that because there's some other things I want to cover today. But I just want to ask you one question. Do you think the good Lord made a mistake when he created the woman's body to naturally taper off with estrogen? And I'm just going to leave it out there. Because what we are seeing today is when those estrogen levels plummet, the medical profession prescribe synthetic estrogen. So I want to leave that for you today. I want you to go and do your research. And if you have questions, you can contact me through my website, aliveagainonline.com, and we can discuss it. But I want to encourage you that there are many ways that you can balance your hormones naturally. And I'm going to be sharing with you just a little bit about one of my favorite products that I believe every woman should use, and that's really changed my life, and I know changed the lives of so many others. So just in closing, I do want to mention that us women are exposed to many synthetic chemicals in the environment. They are called xenoestrogens, and I do work with Prisma Health. I have a lot of their breast cancer patients here. They do cooking classes here in my barn. I've collaborated with them probably for about 10 or 11 years. And the last time I spoke with the nurse navigator, she said that 80% of all breast cancer cases are estrogen driven, estrogen dominant breast cancer, which gives you a good idea of what's happening in our environment. So what are little things we can do? Well, remember, when these synthetic estrogens come into your body, when you're exposed to them, they attach to the estrogen receptors in your body and they mimic estrogen. And so these are harmful. And what are some of those things? My question to you is, your skin being the largest organ on your body, what are you putting on your skin? I love what Dr. McCullough says: if you can't eat it, then don't put it on your skin. And I know many of you buy wonderful products. Deanne's daughter sells a beauty counter. I know several friends that sell that. I don't personally sell it because that's not my focus, but there are so many wonderful, wonderful companies out there that now provide alternative, clean, a non-xenogenic, I don't even know if there's a word like that, so don't quote me, that's a Luray word, ingredients in their products. Pesticides, herbicides, insecticides. These things we are exposed to. But I live by the principle, do that which you know to do and the Lord will do the rest. So try and plant, now that it's season, try and plant whatever you can. Here in North America, it's growing season. We can grow all our own things. Put a planter on your porch, throw a tomato plant in, throw a cucumber vine in, watch it grow. At least that's one thing you don't have to grow and you know it's organic. So just do what you know to do. The next thing is, you know, if you're drinking bottled water all the time, that can be an issue, that can be a challenge. So I'm not saying don't ever drink bottled water, but you know, it's not good to just drink bottled water because we don't know how long that truck has been in the sun and that bottled water plastic baking in there. So it's just making these small changes. If we're eating meat, if you choose to eat dairy, make sure it's grass-fed, free-range, organic, because we do not want these synthetic chemicals in our food that are going to do us harm and that are going to do our daughters harm. So those are all just little things that I thought I'd share with you with regards to the endocrine. And yeah, you know, sometimes it's just important for us to know that there are foods that positively and negatively affect our endocrine system. The thyroid. If you want to mess up your thyroid, take an artificial sweetener. I don't want to get into trouble. I don't want to mention any of the brands. So if you are using an artificial sweetener, in my opinion, it's a chemical that was man-made in a laboratory, as you say, laboratory. We say laboratory, you say laboratory, vice versa, if you're South African or American. That was never designed to come into your body. So, you know, go for stevia, go for raw honey, more of the natural sweeteners if you do feel the need to sweeten your goodies. So that's just a little bit of a glimpse around the endocrine system and just things that positively and negatively affect it. Exercise, I want to mention, and then we're going to go to my special guest. Did you know that over 18 hormones are secreted when you exercise? So I want to encourage you, just start walking. You don't need to belong to an expensive gym. You don't need all these gym equipments. Just start walking, get outside, get sunshine on your skin, get fresh air. And just by doing that, you feel that you can take life on again and you can take the bulls by the horns and you have hope. I mean, you can be exhausted and stressed. Put on your walking shoes or your running shoes and take a walk and you come back a different person. And so most of us women walk around dehydrated. And so we are. And when you feel you're thirsty, it's too late. So, what are we doing on a daily basis to create healthy cell environment? And one of those critical things is cell food, but also cell water. A large percentage of our body is made out of water. We cannot live without water. So make sure you stay hydrated, especially South Africa going into winter. You feel you don't need as much, and you sort of take a step back. And of course, us going into summer, it's important that we stay hydrated. So I want to pull in a friend of mine. I want to introduce you to her, because one of the things I want to speak about, and this is where I'm going to go a little bit deep and talk issues of the heart, is that whole point of us women that have so many demands placed on us, and we give so much of ourselves. And sometimes when we think maybe we should take time for us, a little voice says to us, oh no, you can't do that. That's not right. That's selfish. You can't take time. You can't just stay in your pajamas on Saturday morning and go and sit underneath the tree with your favorite magazines and read and get inspired. And I see this. I walk a road with women, and I see this over and over again. I ask women, what do you do for you? And they say they can't come up with a list. And so I really want to encourage you, because this is what happens. We run like my good friend and colleague Tina Wilkerson says, we walk through life, or we travel through life, us women, with our feet on the gas pedal, full out. And eventually that car's going to run out of gas. What reserves do you have? Do you have the gas can or the petrol can close by? Do you have a spare in your boot or your trunk, depending where you live, to top it up? What are your reserves? So I want to invite my dear friend Shannon Nichols. She was a pastor's wife for many years, incredible friend, incredible human being, just so privileged that she's part of my circle and part of my life. Incredible mother, just homeschooled her kids for many years, is now a teacher at Ben Lippen High School. And I want Shannon to share a little, just give you a little bit of a glimpse into what happened to her. And just a little bit about 5 or 8 minutes, Shannon, what you went through. Because I want women to hear what happens when we keep that foot on the petrol pedal or the gas pedal. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yes. So I thought you hit it so well when we think about seasons of a woman's life. In my spring season, coming out of college and starting a family, or certainly being married and then starting a family, I think I recognized that the Lord was working on my selfishness. So that is true, that I could be too self-centered. That is very possible, and it was for me. And so I took that journey of faith. As I became a mother, it definitely works on that, I think, naturally. And I do think the scriptures speak to that, about how women in childbearing, how that changes us for good. There's a lot of good things that come from that. But with that also comes a lot of responsibility as I move into, the summer, and then now I'm in fall. Just a lot of busyness, a lot to do. And being a pastor's wife kind of added a dimension that I wasn't ready for, probably. I guess nobody is, but my own self-imposed expectations of how that should play itself out, and maybe the expectations of those around me, because I was not in an environment of such public. I'm kind of an introvert by nature, so it's a very public position, and a lot of people in larger churches that speak into my husband's life and mine, with even they don't know the expectations they may place, and then I took those on. So I think by the end of, I don't even remember how old I was. I'm sure somewhere around 40. just kind of hitting a wall. Like, I'm homeschooling 4 children. I'm a pastor's wife. We had planted a church, and it's just, there's so much going on. And of course, Lorraine, I know you came into my life probably 3 or 4 years prior to that. I just don't remember, but I thought she's been in my life forever. She's such a dear friend. Because we just clicked the first time I met her. And I'm thankful because I had already started the journey of health. So the reserves were there, praise the Lord. Because when I hit that wall, I don't know that you can explain what that feels like, and maybe others have experienced it. I don't really know what happened. I would definitely say my adrenals were shot. If I had to, in my limited knowledge of health, I would say that was a problem. But at least had built some reserves. We've been doing a healthy lifestyle. Of course, my 17-year-old now, when she was first born, so however that looks, but where we are now currently. But I just had to readjust my thinking. And I remember Lorraine standing in my kitchen during that time and telling me, you need to take care of yourself. And I think Joan from South Africa also came and spoke into my life during those times. Just the reality of, I guess I really do need to do that. I don't know that I've left margin to think about what I needed. Yes, I did things, but like you said, sometimes when I'm exhausted, and kept pushing through. So to take care of myself, I also had too much going on. So I still exercise. I don't know. It was crazy. But on the other side of this, I feel like, if you ask for a list, I would say yes. I mean, tennis is definitely my thing, where I can get out there. I come back a different person. When I'm exhausted, I agree, a good walk. I come back from that. I'm like, okay, I just need to unwind and leave enough margin to do so. And as a teacher, also there's some feelings of never doing enough, like in mothering. And I'm a seasoned teacher now, so coming back into a full-time position in my fall season that I'm in, I have seen the difference is when I taught when I was 20. I don't even attempt half the stuff I did when I was 20. Now I just do what I need to do, but I do it well, and I do my best, but I don't have that pressure that I might have put on myself trying to develop my profession early in that season. So those are just some things to think about. Maybe you can ask some questions if you have any, Lorraine.
No, absolutely. I mean, I remember being in your kitchen, and I mean, just to see the trauma your body was going through, because I mean, you really hit a brick wall where, I mean, it manifested physically, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you lost, how much weight did you lose?
Let me think. At least 20 pounds. At
least 20 pounds. Mm-hmm. And then, just sort of, what I saw was just sort of losing control, like, feeling your world is going to give in, what's happening to me. And, but seeing you taking, the counsel from those around you, maybe your doctor, your friends, because when we go through stress like this, when we do hit a brick wall, it's important to look at it holistically. You've got to work with your medical professional. You've got to work with your counselor. You've got to take control. But I think for me, the biggest blessing was to see you make those changes. And, speaking with you, Shannon, just amazing how now on the flip side, you say now you are starting to take time for yourself, and you feel good about it, So maybe just in closing, I know we're going to speak a little bit more in the next 5 minutes just on, the products that I love for women, just 2 or 3 that I really enjoy for women. And then I'm going to give you maybe 1 or 2 ideas of just small things that you can do to start making a positive change in your life, so that you can feel better, you can feel rejuvenated, because I follow the 80-20 principle. I believe if we do it right, 80% of the time, that's what counts. So, what is if you can just tell us, what was one big thing that you felt, besides, the Lord intervening and the Lord, because obviously we cannot touch the Lord's glory, but just a practical thing that may help others?
Gosh, that's so big. Do you mean specifically? Because I definitely have taken a lot of those whole food supplements, and they've been very helpful.
To build you up, because your body was depleted. Remember, when we hit a brick wall, or we fall on times where our bodies are ailing or diseased or sick. Remember, your body needs 6 to 7 times more nutrients than what a healthy body needs to maintain. And so I think that's probably one of the things you did. You flooded your body with real whole foods.
Because I was more aggressive during that time.
That's right.
My friend who had cancer that you helped in Sumter.
That's right.
She did a whole lot more too during that time.
That's right. So just during that time. But what is one thing you do, just in closing, what do you do to spend time and give back to you?
To me. Of course, I do sometimes I feel bad saying that, because I do remember seasons of young children. There may not be as much margin. I know I'm in a different season now. My children are older. So I do have a little more margin to do these things, but definitely, exercise, just finding my joy, and exercising in a way that I enjoy. Reading a good book and being by myself, because I definitely just need that time to recharge. My husband recharges around people, and I recharge by myself.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Now, well, thank you, Shannon. I really appreciate you taking time to just share with us. And, I think it's a good reality check for all of us, no matter what season you're in. Don't be put under pressure. If everyone is doing 50,000 things, it doesn't mean you have to do 50,000 things. And I'm not saying don't do anything. Don't get me wrong. But we do need to get to a point where no matter what season we're in, we have to take time for us. And so transitioning into that, I wanted to share just a few of the whole food products that I really am very passionate about, that that you can lock in. And before doing so, Katie was just saying, Lorraine, give us 1 or 2 things that we can do. So I think I'm going to leave that towards the end, Katie. And then I'm going to lock off with that. But just quickly, because I'm keeping my eye on the time and I want to be mindful and be in and out of here in an hour. But what I wanted to share with you was fall of last year, actually June of last year. My middle daughter, Celine, she graduated high school in May, and she went to the United States Air Force Academy. And I don't know why, but I love all 3 of my daughters, 21, almost 16, and 19. I love them all the same. But Celine left. Taylor's at USC here in Columbia, and Celine left to go to the Air Force Academy, which is in Colorado Springs. And I don't know what happened, but my world was shattered. It hit me so hard, and I know many of you who are seasoned or a little bit ahead of me will smile because you've gone through that, right? And my first daughter went to College of Charleston for the first year, and I did cry, but I don't know what it was with Celine. But during this time, something also started happening in my hormones, and my hormones started shifting. And I woke up, and it was almost like overnight I woke up and I was a different person. And I was like, what is going on here? And I mean, overnight I woke up and I felt I had no more confidence. Things that I could get on Facebook Live and do a little Facebook Live thing, I couldn't do. I couldn't bring myself to do. I was weepy. I just wanted to climb down a rabbit hole, and I wanted to stay there. And I was mourning for Celine, and I couldn't understand what was going on. And then, of course, it's so helpful to have friends and mentors who've gone before you, right? To speak into your life and to encourage you, because there were some times that I thought I was going mad. Am I losing it? And so I called my dear friend Joan van Rensburg in South Africa, who I've known since 1997. And I said to her, listen, I'm in trouble. Something's happening, and I don't know what it is. And I wailed over the phone to her. And she kept quiet, and then she just said on the other side, my sweetheart, my darling, as the South Africans say, welcome to the world of perimenopause. And she said, how old are you? And I started sharing with her. And then I realized that what I'm going through is very real. And I know all of you are in different seasons. And I know all of you will be able to testify that you have gone through something similar. But my mistake was to just carry it on my own. And so I want to encourage you that God never made a mistake when he created the human body, but also the woman's hormones. And I think it's very important for us to understand our endocrine system, for us to understand that these are things that are going to happen, for us to understand that there are solutions and that there is hope. So what I had to do was I had to take a few steps back and I had to relook my life. Suddenly, I couldn't do 10 or 15 things all together. Suddenly, I realized when I do a presentation, when I do a cooking class, and I'm on my feet for 12 hours a day, I cannot book a class that next morning. I have to give my body time to recover. 3 days. I have to give myself time to recover because it just is. That's where I am at in life. My body is transitioning, and that's where things are right now. So I was kind to myself. I started easing up on things. I didn't overload myself like I usually do. And suddenly I gave myself the tools to cope. I had friends that I confided in, and I made sure my body stayed healthy. And so I wanted to just share that with you because this is a very real thing that all of us go through. And obviously, my whole nature, when I'm in a crisis, I run to the phone. I love what Joyce Myers said once. She said, many times we run to the phone instead of running to the throne. But I knew it was my season to run to the throne. And so I spent a lot of times, and some of my friends were surprised that I didn't share this with them, but it was a season to pull back and to stay before the Lord and to stay in his presence and to fill myself with him. This worldly confidence that I lost, that I didn't even have to go and do a Facebook Live. I would be on WIS TV and do my presentations, and no one knew what I was going through. And you can see, I get emotional, but I want to be very real with you because these things are real. And no one knew. But I praise God for him and for my relationship with him and for the confidence that I have in him and not the world. And it's just been such a blessing to have people that have been journeying with me, that have been supporting me through this. And please, I don't want to ever discount, the need for medication during this time. But I feel that we are in a society where we are prone to, as a mentor said, what can I take? Not why. Why am I going through this? And for me, it was an easy solution, but I knew that I had to manage this thing holistically. I had to sit my husband down. I think my husband was looking at me for a few months saying, something's happening here. Then I realized I've got to sit him down and I've got to say, love, I'm not coping. This is what's happening. Some days are going to be diamonds. Other days are going to be pearls. And on those days, stones. And on those days that are stones, I need you to come pick me up and polish me a bit. And so it was very freeing to be able to sit with my husband and share. And he's so good. On days that I'm just sometimes struggling, he knows it straight away. And you can see he just comes in and gets wisdom from the Lord on how to help me and how to love me and how to make me feel special during that day. So just wanted to give a little bit of a glimpse just with my struggle and being real with you, because hormones are real. And yes, it is good to work with a healthcare provider and a healthcare professional. But I also want you to know that you can become knowledgeable. Get in touch with your body. I mean, I can wake up one morning and one bearing can be out and I'll know it. And I'm like, what is going on here? So I hope that information has encouraged you. Before we go to some Q&A, I want to quickly share that my favorite products are the AIM Whole Food products. I've been using them, as I said, since 1997. They fit my whole food philosophy, and I will just not go a day without them because they nourish my cells. And with all due respect, no matter what nutrients you take, unless they penetrate the cells, they mean nothing. And so one of my foundational things that I believe every person and every mother should take is a product called Barley Life. So Barley Life, Barley Life is a concentrated sprouted green juice powder from the AIM companies. And it is just, you'll see it's this green color. Look at that. And it is so unique because there are so many other green products on the market, but many of the green products actually have the fiber of the barley or the alfalfa or whatever in there, which is very different because we are not cows. We don't have different stomachs to digest everything. AIM is a concentrated green juice powder, and you take it through your mucous membranes. It goes into your bloodstream, and within 15 minutes, it's in your bloodstream. And so the reason I take it is because life is in the blood. So your blood, if your blood is healthy, your cells will be healthy. So just to keep it very practical, the pH of our blood needs to be between 7.35 to 7.45. And so you will never become acidic. If you do, you go into acidosis and die. You will never become alkaline. If you do, you go into, alkalosis and die. So it's about finding that balance. We can become a little bit more acidic or a little bit more alkaline. And so there are so many stresses today that are placed on us, demands, pollution, toxins. We pump our own gas. We sit there and we stand there and we breathe in all those petrochemicals. So what happens is your chlorophyll, which is found in your green foods, are the most potent. It's potent to help detoxify and neutralize chemicals and heavy metals in the body. So your green foods are the most powerful healers, nourishes, detoxifies, and cleanses of the human blood. And so I take Barley Life every day because it is my insurance policy against any inflammatory related issues. I will never go a day without it. And I'll still leave everything else, but my Barley Life, I will never go a day without. So that's the Barley Life. Something else that I believe women should not be without is a good quality essential fatty acid supplement. Your essential fatty acids are critical for every endocrine organ in your body. Your hormones, your brain, your pancreas, it helps regulate blood sugar. And I love AIM's Omega because it is a nice product to have as you're going through the change of life. It also contains lignans, which also help to make natural estrogen in the body. And it is cold pressed, it is nitrogen flushed. And if you see, the capsule is dark. It's in a dark capsule, so it has not been exposed to any heat, light, and oxygen. And so you are sitting with a pure cold pressed oil, more omega-3s to 6 and 9. And I don't know about you, but I have a friend who's an athlete, and she said to me, I wasn't 40 yet, and she said to me, Lorraine, when you hit 40, you're going to start feeling these aches and pains. And I'm like, oh, what are you talking about, man? I'm healthy, I'm strong. And lo and behold, when I hit 40, I was like, okay, you work on the garden all day, and suddenly it's like, whew, I didn't used to feel like this. And so it's important for us to know as we age, we also need more help with regards to inflammation in the body. And so when we take good quality omega-3s, it helps our body makes hormones called prostaglandins, which help regulate inflammation, but also prostaglandins, a good presence of prostaglandins also bolsters the immune system. And we need a good, strong immune system during this time. There's so many things I want to go through, but I want to leave time for Q&As. But anyway, what else? This is my favorite product for women. It is predominantly for women. It's called Renewed Balance Cream. And it is a cream for women to help balance their hormones. And I can't go in detail about it, but you use it differently. If you have a cycle like me, I use it from day 14 to when my period starts again. If you don't have a cycle and you've gone through the menopause, you can use it either every day, or you can use it 3 weeks on and 1 week off. But this is a cream that has really changed my life. And if you want to know more about it, it's called Renewed Balance Cream. I myself had heavy periods. My mom and my sister have both had uterine ablations. I should have probably, if I did not use this cream, I would have had a uterine ablation by now. I had a history of strong, how can I say, ruptured ovarian cysts, heavy period pains from the front, from the back, even into my first 4 years of marriage. And this cream changed my life. It gave me my life back. So I love it because you can use it from the age of 18 to 100, as Dr. Christiane Northrup says. She says every woman should be on this cream. So if you want to know more about it, you are more than welcome to contact me. And I walk a road with you when you use this cream. Another thing is fiber. Fiber is very important because all that excess estrogen that we're exposed to gets dumped in the colon for excretion. And if you do not poop at least 3 times a day, that estrogen is being recycled, which is not a good thing. So I do want to say to you, because we are a bunch of women, that how often are you pooping a day? I bet no one's asked you that question. So it's very important for us. Dr. Will, he's got a Polish name, but he is, I follow him on Instagram. I have his new book. Great GI doctor out of Mount Pleasant. He's all about poop. And he did a whole post on, did you know that if your bowels move once a day, you can be constipated? And I just listened to a webinar, and that's going to be one of my other webinars coming up, is digestive health. How's your digestive system working? And just little things you can do to optimize your digestive system. You know, how do you know it's time to clean house? Well, if you go to bed and you have 8 hours sleep and you always jumped up and had a lot of energy, and suddenly you feel you can't get out of bed anymore. Your sinus issue was under control and suddenly your sinuses are flaring up. You're tired more often than what you should. Suddenly you're bloating, you're a little bit gassy. All these little things start creeping in that were never there. These are all telltale signs that it's time to clean house. And so the average American is getting between 8 and 15 grams of fiber a day. So I want to challenge you as women. I want you to take a fiber inventory. You need at least 25 to 30 grams of fiber. If you're on high blood sugar medication, you need 50 grams. Most of us fall short on fiber, and fiber is so critical for us. So check out, try and track your fiber and track your hidden sugars. So we need not be having more than 6 teaspoons, according to the World Health Organization, of added sugars. Most people are getting between 18 and 32 teaspoons of sugar a day. It's in all your foods, your flavored yogurts, your salad dressings. We are turning our salads into sundaes, granola bars. I mean, I can go on and on. Juices, don't kid yourself. If you buy these green machine juices with kale and alfalfa and broccoli sprouts and pineapple, check the label. 56 grams of sugar in one of those juices. I mean, I don't want to call out any smoothie places. I want you to go and do your homework and your research on some of these smoothie stores where we buy the smoothies. It is shocking to see 85 grams of fiber, and it's marketed to us as being healthy. So just a little bit exercise go and do a little log on your sugar. How do we do that? Just a little practical tip. If you look at your label, for every 4 grams of sugar, that is 1 teaspoon. Make sure you check out the servings. So if it's 1 serving and it's 30 grams of sugar, it's 30 divided by 4. That's how many teaspoons of sugar you are about to consume in whatever you're going to have. It's eye-opening to do a sugar inventory. So that's what I'm going to share today. What can we do? What's one thing we can do that instantly we can feel a difference? Well, for me, obviously, it's taking Barley Life, and don't start with too much. And this is, what I want to share. We don't ever have enough time to go into all the mechanics. So for those of you who are interested, you are welcome to call me or contact me through my website, aliveagainonline.com. Or if you have a friend who invited you, I know Anne is here, I know Tara's here, I know Shannon's here, and I don't know who you've invited. Hey, Anne, it's so good to see your beautiful face. If you've invited friends, please follow up with them. You've used the products for years, and make sure you answer their questions and, get them ordering if they want. But what are 1 or 2 things we can do just in closing? Well, the first thing for me is foundational, and it's not a food thing, but my life, I see it as a stool with three legs. There are 3 things that need to be going on at the same time for the stool not to crumble. The first thing is my relationship with Christ, my relationship with my Maker. If I spend time in Him, if I find my identity in Him, in who He sees me to be, it gives me the ability to step out into the world, embrace who I am, and embrace everything that He has called me to be and to do. The second thing is exercise. For those of you who know me, you know that is my natural antidepressant. And my husband knows it. So I make sure I exercise every day, because it's one of the biggest things that contributes to a healthy mental state in my life. And it helps me, obviously keeps me fit, it keeps my organs healthy, and it's just healthy for you. We need to move. All these muscles. Why did God give us muscles? Not to sit still. And then, of course, my diet. What food am I eating? What am I doing on a daily basis to protect my cells, to create a good cell environment? What am I doing to maintain, detoxing or eliminating, giving my body's the natural detox pathways, the tools to detox on a daily basis. So try and eat something raw before you eat something cooked. Do you think you can make a smoothie once a day? We live in a world where we cook our foods to death, especially in the South. Oh my gosh, they cook everything. You look at the color of the green beans and the collards, and it's like khaki green, or as we say in South Africa, khaki green. We say khaki, you say khaki. And so try and have something raw before you have something cooked. If you snack, make your snack raw in between your meals. If you are having a cooked meal, meat and 3 at night, I want to challenge you. Why not make a lovely big salad? So those are just little things we can do. Another thing I find very practically, and you know it, but I just want to say to you, is we sleep for 8 hours. We wake up dehydrated. You haven't had anything to eat, anything to drink. And then we wake up and we go and pour a cup of coffee. And what does coffee do? It even dehydrates us more. So before you do anything, have a glass of water, warm water, squeeze a good, generous helping of fresh lemon, and drink 16 ounces of water when you wake up in the morning. It makes a huge difference. I love the Barley Life as well. It's safe enough to give a newborn baby. The Omega is also safe enough to give a newborn baby when you open the capsules. So no matter what season of life you're in, they're wonderful products. AIM has herbal fiber blend. They have which cleans the colon and removes just nonsense that's been hanging around there. So I love, in closing, I call these, or we call these, the dynamic duo. So that's my dynamic duo, okay? And so I love what a colleague said yesterday. When you have a floor that's dirty and it's full of grime and grease, will you take the polish machine out and just start polishing? Would you do that? No. You would get a mop with a bucket with warm water, and you would wash that floor. And once it's clean, then you would get the polisher out, and then you would buff it. And so that's the herbal fiber blend, the fiber in your diet, and the fit and fiber you can put in a smoothie. That is what it cleans the dirt off the floor. It takes the grime out of the colon, so that when your colon is clean and you put, this is the polish, and you put real living nutrients when it comes to eating live, raw, whole food, more plants, and you put barley life into your body, that is when you polish, the polishing starts. So when you put, when your colon is open, your colon is clean, your colon is functioning, you're pooping regularly and you're pooping well and you're pooping deep, then assimilation of nutrients can penetrate the colon and go into the blood and feed the cells, and you are healthy. Does that make sense? So again, thank you so much for joining me. You are welcome. Let me, I'm just going to unmute everyone. And let's see here. I first want to read, let's see if I have, okay. Okay. Any information? Any questions that you may have?
Lorraine, I have a question.
Yes, Anne.
I really love the barley grass, but I also love broccoli sprouts. And
yes.
The product, can you talk just for a second about the product and about with the broccoli
yes.
also? But
yes.
am I compromising barley grass in it, or is it a good amount?
Okay. So I'm going to quickly mute all again. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just want to say mute all. Okay. All right. So AIM has another product called leaf greens, and leaf greens, that's the one thing I didn't put in, but it's upstairs in my house. So leaf greens is a combination of 5 leafy green powders, and it contains barley life, kale, barley grass juice, it's kale, arugula, spinach, and broccoli sprouts. And so it is such a fantastic concentrated green juice powder, and it's so strong you only need once a day. But the uniqueness in that is that it contains broccoli sprouts. So broccoli sprouts are very high in sulforaphane, and sulforaphane is very, very protective against cancer. So all the research is out there. And at the end of the day, the broccoli sprouts and the kale and the arugula and the spinach, it's called leaf greens. 1 teaspoon of leaf greens contains the equivalent of 6 to 8 cups of broccoli sprouts, the sulforaphane that are in broccoli sprouts. So it's very concentrated. What I love about it, it's also for people who are picky, they would have the leaf greens, and you are waiting for this green, where you and I love that green. They are waiting for the green to hit them, but in fact, it's the citrus that hits them, because they put citrus flavonoids in there. And so if you are wanting to bolster your immune system, if you want to maintain a strong immune system, I really, really want to encourage you to take the leaf greens, because the leaf greens are very, very protective. Remember, broccoli sprouts, very anti-cancer with the sulforaphane being in there, and is very, very protective. Again, for those of you who want research, I can give you wonderful research. I know, Anne, you also have wonderful research on that, but it's just a wonderful concentrated. It has the barley life in there as well, so which is the bonus. So you can combine the two, or you can just take one or the other. But it is very potent, and you would only need 1 teaspoon a day. Are there any other questions? Yes, a question is, did I say some of the smoothies have 85 grams of sugar? Correct. I saw we have a registered dietitian on here. I don't know if she's still on, or if she has if she has disappeared. But Melissa, if you are on, would you mind putting on your camera and just chiming in? You and I did a Zoom call, or you don't have to put on your camera if you don't want to, but we did a Zoom call, and I remember you mentioned, I know for a fact that our smoothie store down the road, that's what some of them contain, but you know firsthand about sugar in smoothies. Are you able to comment? I don't know if Melissa's here. She may have left. Okay. When you take the fiber, is it best before or after taking the greens? Okay. So for those of you, I know many of us are new to the products, and so bear with us as we get these questions for those who have used it or just starting to use it. But remember, fiber goes to the digestive tract, and it works its magic there. But the barley life does not have fiber. It goes through the mucous membranes and into the bloodstream. So you do not want to be taking these two together, okay? You want to take them at least an hour apart. And remember, whether you use Ames supplements or you use other herbal supplements, or as you say, herbal supplements, always remember, herbs are very medicinal. So it is important, whether you're using any of the herbal things here with AIM or outside products, never take any herbal supplements within an hour of your prescription medication, because they can dilute the efficacy of that medication, because herbs are cleansing. Herbs are medicinal. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions? I'd love to hear from you. Are you all planning something special for Mother's Day? Maybe one or two of you can chime on if you have any comments to make with regards to the presentation I just gave. I'd love for you to comment. Share with us, how are you? You know, was there anything that you found helpful? Any of the things that I shared that you could testify works for you, or maybe add to what I'm saying? Another thing I want to encourage you, where I find in my time, is nurturing relationships. I think it's so important that as we go through life, and as we go through our seasons right from the get-go, we need to also teach our children from a very young age to nurture their friendships and nurture their relationships. And as we go through life, we can be spread out all over the place. But who are those friends that you are going to walk a road with and nurture, instead of just focusing all over the place? So that's something I wanted to add as well, that I find just so important, and especially during this time,
You're one of those friends to all of us, Lorraine.
Oh, hey, Amy.
And I have to say, every one of the products of AIM that I've used is phenomenal. Now my entire family takes them. And the herbal fiber blend is excellent. Barley is excellent. I just made an order before I got on this 6 peak endurance. We cannot do anything without that, because we all either work out, play sports, and that's vital. I can't tell you how used to have so many of those Gatorades hanging over my grocery cart, all when they were playing college sports, and just always having that. And boy, how easily that's replaced with just a can of peak endurance that you can take with you.
Wow. Well, thank you, Amy. For me, it's been such a joy. I think I've walked a road of over 10 years, 11 years with Amy Murphy and her family. And Amy is one of my spiritual moms. She's a mommy to me here. And her daughter, Melissa, is just, she's a dietitian. I mean, just a top-notch dietitian in Louisville, Kentucky, and the head of the athletics department at the university there, and also one of the most gifted dietitians, and I believe one of the most, a new breed of dietitian today. So I'm very, very excited that you chimed in. And for those of you who are still on the Peak Endurance is just an alternative to Gatorade, but you can also use it as a tonic if you're feeling down. I love this product because it's got no ephedra, it's got no stimulants, it has no caffeine, and only 1 gram of natural sugar. It has all 6 electrolytes and all your B vitamins 1 to 12 in a whole food state. So I am an athlete like Shannon. I'm a tennis player, and let me tell you, these two, beet juice and Peak Endurance, is my go-to. And we know that beets helps increase your stamina. We know that beets help oxygenate the blood with the nitric oxide and increase circulation to all your extremities. And one thing I can testify about the beets, this gives me the energy, but the beets gives me the stamina. So we all need energy, but stamina is even more important, especially as being mothers and wives. And, you know, we can do with 2 or 3 extra hours in a day. And that's what I find. Sometimes I love to just combine these 3. And that's a good start. If you are saying, Lorraine, I just want to start with something, I would start with those 2. When you mix those 2 together, it tastes like a green berry drink, and just absolutely delicious. So I'm going to lock off now. I know we've gone a little bit over, but it's so nice for those of you who want to chat. Are there any more questions as I finish out? Again, if you'd like to follow me on my social media, Alive Again LLC, at Alive Again LLC on Instagram, at Alive Again LLC on Facebook. My website is aliveagainonline.com. And my newsletter is coming out probably early evening, and it's very special. I've done a video on how to build a breakfast tray for Mother's Day, and just some beautiful tips. I've done a wonderful blog just to minister to the mother, but the letter is also written if the men are receiving it and the children are receiving it, so that they can do something for their special mother on Mother's Day. So thank you so much for taking time. I appreciate you all. And for those of you who are new to my walk, it's wonderful, great to be introduced to you. Thank you to Anne and to all of those who shared the link. And thank you to those who faithfully use the AIM product and who faithfully made these lifestyle changes, because I believe that we can be intense about it, which is great. And intensity is what gets us healthy, but consistency is what keeps us healthy. It's the little things we do every day that have a profound impact on our lives. So thanks again. And if you're interested and you want more information, feel free to contact me through my website, and I will be glad to walk a road with you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.